It's Friday, 16th of January, and here are some stories that made it to the top on the news dailies. We'll start from the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper this morning, on the burning surface, we have US votes $413 million for security operations in Nigeria in orders. That story is on the page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The sub story under that story says 2026 Fiscal Act backs African Bureau as US AFRICOM tracks Russia's military ambitions. And the stories on the page 2. If you want more of the stories, go to the page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Going down, we have Armed Forces Day as Tinubu governor celebrates soldiers and fallen heroes. We celebrate soldiers and fallen heroes today, and the souls of all the fallen heroes may they rest in peace, and we're offering condolences to their families. That story, we have it on the page 3 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Going up, 2027, Atiku's son joins APC and backs Tinubu's election. That story, you find it on the page 9 of the Punch newspaper this morning. By the side, we have Rivers Crisis Assembly shelves seating amid rumored plot against Speaker. That story is on the page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Alaafin kicks as Makinde installs Ladoja chairman of Oba's Council. That story is on the page 3. On the page 3 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Moving on to the next newspaper this morning, which is the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper. On the Vanguard newspaper this morning, on the burning surface, we have 152 trillion debt driven by forex rates adjustment reforms. The story, which was said by the finance minister. That story is on the page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. The sub-story says 30 trillion naira ways and means now recognized. Insists debt rise driven by FX revaluation and not fresh borrowing. 2025 deficit at 3.4% of GDP shows fiscal resilience. This is SPAC reacting. More of the stories on the page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Going down, we have the gun hegemony and how military incursion arrested Nigeria's growth. We have Anyaoku, Amuka, Opadokun, and others. 6 urgent return to plural federal constitution, and Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu, Osoba, and others. Fele Opadokun. The stories on the page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. If you want more of the story, it is sitting right on the page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. We have the picture story of the people that were at armed forces. We have from the left, Minister of State for FCT, Dr. Mariu Mohammed. We have Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, retired. We have Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere Ekun, and Deputy Speaker, House Representatives Benjamin Kalu, and Senate President Godwin Akpabio, Vice President Kashim Shettima, and service chiefs during the 2026 parade to mark the grand finale of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day held at National Arcade, Abuja yesterday. That's a great one. Moving up, we have 2026 budget. Ministry votes over 500 million naira for makeup artists, hairdressers, and grinding machines. The story is on the page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. And Rivers Assembly fails to resume amid impeachment saga. Stories on the page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. Armed Forces Remembers Day at Tinubu, Shettima, and governors and others pay tribute to fallen heroes. On the page 27, that story is sitting right on the Vanguard newspaper. Abducted doctor in Edo regains freedom after 50 million naira ransom. That story is sitting right on the page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. We have a picture story of the book launch by Ayo Padokun. More of the stories, you will find it on the Vanguard newspaper. Moving to the next, which is the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper this morning on the burning surface, how 300% cost spike and drug rationing turn diabetes to death threat. This is a big story and it's on the pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper. We have diabetes contributes to over 3.4 million deaths yearly, with more than half of the population without access to medication. And the International Diabetes Federation projects the epidemic to reach 853 million by 2050, and 75% of diabetes sufferers live in low and middle income countries. And over 11.4 million Nigerians are diagnosed and battling diabetes, and only a third of those diagnosed receive proper treatment, and 34.5% of patients with diabetic foot ulcers lose legs in Nigeria compared to 0.1% overseas, and diabetes kills about 30,000 to 40,000 Nigerians yearly. Cost of medication spiked between 300 to 500% in 3 years. This big story, if you want more of it, go to the pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper. Moving on, armed forces resolute against terrorism and say CDS amid posers about Tinubu's absence. On the page 6, that story is sitting right on the Guardian newspaper. Fubara's impeachment stalls as lawmakers fail to reconvene. A story is on the page 27 of the Guardian newspaper. NESG projects 5.5% growth and 16% inflation in 2026 and warns against policy reversals. On the page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. U.S. sanctions foreign airlines battle drop in passenger traffic. The story is on the page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. Federal government and academic staff union of universities deal promises improved post-service welfare for academic staff. On the page 29, that story is sitting right on the Guardian newspaper. Atiku's son damns PDP for APC and backs Tinubu's second term. The story is on the page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. Kano governor going up now. Kano governor deputy pathways over defection. On the page 7, you will find that story on the Guardian newspaper. Alleged 110.4 billion naira fraud, and EFCC tenders fresh bank records against Yahaya Bello and others. The story is on the page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. More banks meet recapitalization threshold as tally exceeds 20. The story is on the page 18 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And finally, for this morning, we have the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust newspaper this morning on the burning surface, we have Tinubu away as nation honors fallen heroes. That story is continued on page 3 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. We have picture stories of the honor of the remembrance. We have so many soldiers paying their tribute to fallen heroes, and of course Armed Forces Day celebration. Moving on, Nigeria's economy unstable yet as World Bank and IMF. This was said by World Bank, IMF, that Nigeria's economy is unstable yet. You find the story on the page 24 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Our struggles after service, war veterans. You find the story on the page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Inflation drops to 15.15% in December. The story is on the page 26 of a Daily Trust newspaper. Atiku's son dumps PDP for APC. That story is on the page 15 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Moving up, ACF, NEF orders decry North's leadership decline. That story is on the page 12 of a Daily Trust newspaper. Federal government warns states against peace deals with bandits. That story is on the page 13 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Fourth Republic, democracy of scandals, state capture, and chronism. The story is on the page 14. That story is on the page 14 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And that's all for the newspaper review this morning. And if any of the stories caught your attention, you can get one of the papers and read.